Hi, I'm Echo with Echoes of Nature, and today we are doing a dinosaur craft and talking a little bit about dinosaur fossils and how they are formed. So, when a dinosaur was living, they may have been drinking by a stream or a river, and maybe a flash flood occurred. And when that dinosaur got caught up in the flash flood and taken down river, it would have drowned in the water and then later either sank to the bottom of the river or maybe been pushed up on shore. And as long as the scavengers didn't find the body and the body was covered with sediment, like with sand, mud, leaves, rock, that was protected. And over time, a lot of time, like millions of years, that body may have become a fossil. Not every dinosaur that died became a fossil. And why would that be? You would have had the scavengers that would have taken care of the bodies, which are part of nature's cleanup crew. Things may have been shifted by other floods, and then the body exposed, and then through time just deteriorated and broke down. But if the body was preserved and became a fossil, then maybe a paleontologist, a person that wants to learn to be a dinosaur scientist, would have maybe found or unearthed dinosaur bones. And there's a lot of cool stories in history about how fossils were found, but no one knew what they were because they were really strange looking because they didn't match anything from today. But we can take a look at fossil bones, the skeletons, footprints, coprolites, which are the fossilized scat, and we can learn a lot about the dinosaurs or prehistoric animals then by comparing them to animals of today. And whereas I don't have a dinosaur to share with you, but I do have some models and fossils to share before we go into our craft. So this is an Oviraptor egg model, and when you look at it, it looks all cracked. Kind of almost like if you had an egg and you accidentally dropped it on the counter when you were making a cake. So the Oviraptor eggs would have been found in what's now Mongolia, and they would have been covered by maybe a dust or sandstorm, and they totally covered up. Then over time the pressure of the sand would have created cracks in the eggs. Oviraptor means egg thief, and that was given to the dinosaur that they thought was actually trying to steal the eggs out of the nest that they found, that the archaeologists or paleontologists found rather, because there were protoceratops skeletons fossilized around in that area too, and it told a story. But sometimes when you look at a picture, you don't always get the right story. So many years later, when our technology increased and you could actually take a CT scan of the eggs, the fossilized eggs, what surprised scientists was that it wasn't a protoceratops inside the egg, which is what they thought. It was an Oviraptor egg. There was a little skeleton of an Oviraptor. Now that doesn't mean that the Oviraptor dinosaur didn't go around eating eggs, but she got her name based upon the layout of the fossils and the nests. But she was actually a mother protecting her eggs. And that's a way that science changes as we learn more. This is a model of a T-Rex tooth. A lot of kids' very favorite dinosaur. So the teeth were about 6 inches long, some of the longer ones. And this model doesn't show it because it's smooth, but the teeth would have been serrated for gripping and ripping and tearing meat. And the cool thing about T-Rexes is that their teeth worked a lot like shark teeth. We know that shark teeth, they lose a tooth, there's a tooth behind it, and it's rows and rows of teeth. Well, the T-Rexes, when they lost a tooth, another tooth would emerge and grow in place. And how did we find that out? That was from looking at lots of different T-Rex fossil skulls. And it's really cool because T-Rexes had little tiny arms. And if you're not grabbing your food with your arms, you're grabbing with your teeth, sometimes those teeth would get yanked out. And if you got all your teeth yanked out, then you'd be gumming your food and trying to catch it with your little hands, and it wouldn't work so well. So it's really cool that they actually had that adaptation to grow in teeth continually to replace ones that got torn out. Unfortunately, it doesn't work for humans, but that would be a nice thing. This is a Raptor Claw, a dinosaur Raptor Claw. And if you look, it's almost as big as my hand. And these were probably on the feet. So imagine a bird of prey today having a talon this size going for it to help it to take down its food. This is a real fossil. And if you look on this side, it's very dark. It's also curved. This is the outer part of the bone, like if you're looking at a chicken bone. It's rounded on the outside, but if you break it open on the inside, it's very porous or holy, and it feels very rough. And I've been told that this was part of a whale jaw, and from the Calvert Cliffs in Calvert, Maryland. And this wouldn't have been a dinosaur fossil, but it is a fossil of several million years. And it took a long time to get to this. This is no longer bone. It is rock. And over time, the bone, which is made of calcium, as water, as minerals shifted through, it changed the bone. It pushed that out and put in mineral and other rock formations, which is really cool. So this doesn't feel light like a chicken bone. It feels pretty heavy. And this is a fossil of barnacles. You may have seen these when you've gone to a pier, and you've seen them stuck on the side of the piers or on the boats, or sometimes when you're watching documentaries and you see whales, they'll have barnacles stuck on them. Barnacles are one of our living fossils. So that means it's a plant or an animal that hasn't changed over time. We can look at a barnacle of today, compare it to the barnacle fossil of the past, and we can get an idea of what that animal ate, how it lived, because we can look at its living fossil cousin of today. Now our craft today is that you're going to make a Pastasaurus. There's no such dinosaur as a Pastasaurus, but we're using pasta to help us to create our very own dinosaur or prehistoric animal, whichever you would like. We're going to use Play-Doh. This is homemade dough, and we will have a recipe of the dough on our website at echoesofnature.org, as well as some coloring sheets or activity sheets that are fossil dinosaur related. And what I'm doing right now is I'm warming it up a little bit so I can squish it well. And you'll need either heavy cardboard, not cardboard, but tag board. You can use an old cereal box or other cardboard to help give it some form, because the Play-Doh is going to make just regular paper bend. You're going to want to take your Play-Doh and flatten out a ball of it so you are creating a fossil bed. Now I did green because I wanted to be able to contrast our pasta. You could keep it the white or creamy color. You could change it any color you wanted to. And so then I'm going to stick it on my board, so I'm not sticking it on the table. And then I have a variety of pasta. This is one of the activities and crafts that we do with a lot of our camps and after school programs and our science enrichment classes. So we go through a lot of pasta. But you're going to have different shaped pastas. And then you're going to think about, well, what kind of dinosaur shape do I want? Do I want to just make a head? Do I want to make an arm or a leg? Do I want to try to make the whole dinosaur? And think about how sometimes how the shapes may help you create your dinosaur. So what I'm doing right now is I'm sticking some of my pasta pieces into the Play-Doh. So I've given him a pointy head. He's got an eye. We're starting on a skeleton or his backbone, and it looks like he's got sails going down his back. So maybe this is a Stegosaurus. Or it could be whatever saurus you wanted. And then little feet. And I don't have the whole dinosaur. Maybe it broke off and I'll have to find it in another spot. And the cool thing, when you find a brand new fossil, you can also name it. So maybe my Pastasaurus here, instead of calling him a Stegosaurus, I can call him an Echosaurus, or a Michaelosaurus, or a Stephaniesaurus, whatever you like to call it. I have an example of one that my son Griffin did earlier today. He actually did a pterosaur. So not a dinosaur, a flying reptile, but he made the head, the neck, the wings, and because pterosaurs live near the water and the ocean, he also put in pastas that look like ammonites and other seashells to make it look like the habitat that the pterosaur was in when it became a fossil, or started to become a fossil. I hope that you have a lot of fun making your Pastasaurus and creating its story of how it became a fossil and where it was found. And again, we will have the recipe for the